Find out, Dagon. Let us see what they have cooked up for us. We are jumping straight into the draft here for game number 3. I'm really glad that we did get an explanation for the items. And it was the fact that it was a husband-to-wife hand-me-down item situation. And so he had to use the Essence Reaver that Lucian had already bought. It was already in the cupboard. And so that's probably what it was.
He called it sponge cake. It looked like cookies to me. I don't know, but it looked like he cooked really well.
Sponge cookies?
Yeah, it looked really good. Maybe he's gonna save one for me. I'll have it after this series, but
that was very subtle, Wolf. I liked it.
I think DPlus cooked way too hard with that last draft. That draft to me, when we went in game, I was like, I don't think so. By the way, you could probably tell, but
I actually think that if aiming built correct items, it was fine. But he didn't, and it wasn't.
I think there's more to it than that, but it would have helped for sure. Let's jump into this third game where the Azir is still going to be a high prio champion, especially as we've moved a little bit deeper with 4 champs banned here. Really, all of them engage and setup champions here. So picks like the Rise go way up in stock because they're going to be consistent damage. The Victor goes way up in stock for consistent damage. The Ornn is still available, of course, as well to empower a scaling mid laner like that. So Azir's gone. Varus and Yone taken away here as DPlus have banned the Varus all 3 games now into Hype. I'll take away Morgan's Renekton.
Well, the Lord had a great game in the last one, and to finish with full comfort would make a whole bunch of sense. One last band comes through here for the bros, and there is the Vi.
I think it's Vi. I think that was not really a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, the PVV needs to be taken away. Every single game.
Guess they can look for a first pick onto the Victor here, take a page out of T1's book if they want to. That seems like the safest opening in this draft. The Ambessa is what they're looking for instead. This is a Shiu favorite.
Yep, does okay into the tank options that Morgan does have left available, like the Ornn, for example. So the Ambessa will be locked away. First pick blind top lane is a little bit dangerous. Let's see what the bros have in store for him.
They can just go for the Rumble.
Yeah, true.
I think if you're thinking about, I agree with you, it's great into tanks, but they won't just pick, they'll just will not do that when the Ambessa's face up.
I love this. Pillar and Equalizer together are so incredibly powerful. So already the bros have a really good 1-2 punch in top jungle.
It's good into the Skarner as well. I'm curious what Lucid has planned. They can just go Lee in here.
Oh, okay. Instead, looking at a Misfortune, aiming one of our players that we do like on the Misfortune.
Without Rel, though, but I mean, aiming and Ruler, I feel like have been our best bot lane MF players, regardless of support setup. They've just been really, really clean. And we've seen, as you were kind of alluding to, aiming find great success on this pick. I think if you put nameplates off, though, would be a little bit concerning to me, especially with how immobile it is, and even pillars can interrupt the setup there for it. So a little bit tricky here. And now, as DPlus, it's kind of an awkward spot. You could just, as Bro, you could just grab a high prio mid laner, or you can get the Alistar, which is safe.
Yeah, Alistar going to be the lock-in here for Polo. Another opportunity for him to redeem that first game. His Rel looked fantastic last time around. Could make it a majority of good performances.
And now you get mid lane counter pick here for Bro if you want it, which feels pretty good.
Yep. Silas, also you can pick away things that you want to play whatever champion that you're planning on playing into. So pretty nice. Already the Silas going. The Jhin going to be taken away from Hype. Certainly one of his better champs as well.
I wonder if they just ban jungles here. I'm surprised to see Silas banned. I thought they'd maybe go Nocturne Lee Sin. Instead, it will be the Nocturne with the Silas you were talking about, which can steal the Alistar ult, which feels really powerful.
I think it needs to be an Orianna ban. Otherwise, Closer just plays it and is very, very happy with the state of the game, I would imagine.
Could also just, into this comp, feels like blind Rise and feel pretty good about it. Blind, picks are often quite concerning, but maybe Showmaker has something in mind here. Let's see if it ends up being AD carry here, because it should be, so that you can have that counter pick for mid. Bro has such a strong position in this draft.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can also just lock Orianna just because it's so high priority at this point in the draft.
I just think there's so many other options that while you can do that, that gives Showmaker agency, and you could just try to counter what he does instead. as they're taking it down here. And what's the AD carry? It's going to be Lucian Alistair, interestingly. Not what I expected to see. I thought we'd see something a little bit more scaling oriented.
Yeah, or a little bit more range oriented.
Yeah.
As well, with the fact that, you know, you're into an MF, it's not necessarily the most value. We've seen Lucian Braum be pretty powerful here in the LCK. Lucian Alistair we've seen less often.
The Lee Sin seems obvious, right? It's good into Trundle. You don't have that much health or resistances to steal away.
And this is one that you were expecting as well. The Rise for Showmaker, something that he has gone back to many, many times. And it will be Risley Sin here for the mid jungle. So and put on a lot of pressure. It's Cassiopeia, okay.
That I did not see coming. I was like, okay, is it going to be Orianna for the matchup, or is it going to be Victor for damage later and consistency because you're playing a Lucian? But this is kind of the middle ground of the two, where you can play very aggressively with Trundle. You set up a pillar, and then Cassiopeia grounds you, you're dead. So all champions here who rely on not being grounded quite heavily. Yeah. And it also sets up really well for Equalizer in these team fights, too. And the amount of warping of the terrain that this Trundle pillar can do when you already have this tanky Alistair as well gives you a lot of really powerful angles in team fights. I do think DPlus's draft is a lot more meta. It's a lot more figured out. It's a lot more solved. And it's a draft that I think is going to be arguably way more well-practiced than Bro kind of flexing here a little bit. But that being said, we saw them crush with a weird Cho'Gath game in Game 2, so anything is possible.
Yep, and they spent a lot of time playing against Quad in years past, right? Closer has some experience up against Cassiopeia, no matter the meta, so it doesn't really matter too much there. I do like the idea of just putting things all over the ground, right? Which is what you were alluding to earlier with the Miasma and the Equalizer and the pillars coming up and all that sort of stuff. Their control of space is fantastic, but they don't have a massive amount of range into Rise and MF that really do kind of like being up close and personal. Yes, Petrifying Gaze could be a problem if he's in range of MF because she stands there looking in one direction if she's doing damage with her ultimate. But outside of that, I think that DK, they could play around it. I think it's an honest draft on both sides, and we'll just have to see whether DK can get back on the horse once again after a pretty pitiful game number 2 performance. Blue side helping out, but I think after this draft, it looks like it's less of a factor.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest parts is I love to see the classic Dom 1 jersey there. One of the biggest parts of the draft working well for D+ is the Shiyu ultimates. I think that is one of the ways in which you can actually kind of circumvent this Cassiopeia, get into the backline, and punish what is a pretty low-range composition set up for that Rise, because the Rise also is going to be threat in side lanes with that Ambessa. So, mid-jungle top, the top side of the map here for D+ is incredibly strong. They need to play well, and we've known Shiyu to be a player this year so far that can be incredibly clutch on this pick specifically. So I want to trust that D+ can get it done.
Yep. I like that the little scarf there just says most standing. And
well, it might say most outstanding, and we just can't see.
No, it just says most standing based on what we can see on the screen. I haven't seen the out. So
but right now in the studio, Alice, I think most are sitting.
Yeah, it's
most
so sitting actually.
I see someone's going to the bathroom. She's walking out. A lot of security guards and camera people standing. But for the most part, even the players, all 10 out of 10, sitting currently.
Yeah, casters, all 5 out of 5 sitting. All fans, sitting.
Referees standing, but I mean, that's, again, you're in the minority. If there was most referees standing, I'd be like, well, in fact, it's all referees standing.
I think if she actually had have stood up as soon as she was on camera, then she would have been the most standing.
In fact, looking around, yeah, if we don't include the girl who went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
not one person in the audience is otherwise standing.
We could say equally most standing, because I think you only need to be standing to be the most standing, as it turns out. But we've spoken about that for a while. I think it's taking a little bit longer to get into the draft, as we are, I think, sorting some stuff out. But I believe
the room is being remade at the moment. I can see behind me, but we don't know the reason yet.
Yep, and it might have been just
a crash, probably.
Yeah, some sort of crashy issue, things like that. PCs and stuff, that sort of thing happens all the time. So we are just going to rebuild the draft. It is going to be exactly the same. We at least managed to get through the whole thing.
Showmaker plays some of his most iconic picks in this series, right? The Syndra into the Rise now as well. It's not his technical birthday, but it's his pro gamer birthday, right? His live game birthday. it would be rough to go, what was it, 0-7, I believe it was, on the Syndra in the previous game, and then lose on the Rise here for DPlus to lose their opening game to Bro after such a strong start in Game 1. I think that's one of the big storylines for me watching this, because going into the series, I think everyone was saying, in our group at least, like, it's winnable for Bro. Like, not one person thought, oh, this will be easy for DPlus. We all kind of thought, we heard the Scrim stories, we heard how monstrous they looked in the offseason. They've been practicing against everybody. They've been playing against LPL teams. They're playing against all the teams that didn't travel here in Korea, and they're dominating. And they're a team that preps incredibly well. They have CVMax on their coaching staff, who's known to be able to bring up younger players, especially like Shiu, in this case, Lucid being the second youngest, of course, but has a ton of experience. And so going into this series, you're like, okay, no, DPlus should have the edge. And after that Game 2 went very poorly with a, frankly, disastrous draft that didn't work, you know, now you're starting to wonder, man, maybe Bro can do it again, because this team has played DPlus close so many times. You and I were talking about it before the show. This is just a new LCK classic. Bro DPlus, even if the stakes are low, it just delivers, it feels like, every time.
Yeah, and I'm like going through some of the stats, because the Cassiopeia was a really interesting one to be locked in last, because I was pretty sure in the back of my mind that it wasn't a great matchup into the Rise. And as it turns out, not a counter pick. You can't say that, right? But it, like, Rise does technically have a higher win rate against the Cassiopeia, just in general across the board. So obviously it is playing for the team fight rather than playing for the lane. And we've seen that that hasn't necessarily been the way to victory at the moment, right? Because winning lane has been very, very important. And if you have a look on the other side, there's a Lee Sin next to this Rise. I think it might give DK a lot of avenues in the earlier stages to allow Lucid to really run amok up against Croco here in this game.
Unless there is, like, you know, some closet Cassiopeia going on with Closer where he's just keeping it really close to his chest that he loves this pick. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, maybe you're looking it up now. I don't know if it's like the first time he's ever played it pro. I doubt it is. I bet he has played it before, but it's not a common pick for him.
I wasn't, but I could. We have got some extra time.
We have some niche Cassiopeia players, right? Quad was one of the big ones, but we have a few players that have picked it up here in this region. Like Faker, for example. Yep. Obviously an older player has played it through some more strong Cassiopeia metas. I look at what DPlus have, and even outside of composition-wise, it's comfort picks across the board. And that's why if you had to ask me right now who takes Game 3, I give it to DPlus, because the Game 2 draft had some picks that they like, but it wasn't a comp. This is a meta composition with every single player playing something they're fantastic at, whereas on Bro's side, I can't imagine they're just as well versed.
Yeah, and also Essence Reaver first on MF is fine. So I think that aiming might be able to figure it out. He can load up the same item build, and well, not the Runons. Please don't build that on Misfortune. But I think he'll know that, you know, Bloodthirster will need to come in at some point as well, and stuff like that. He built a Bloodthirster in the first game. You know, his Sivir build was okay, and I believe he also built Essence Reaver. Maybe he just loves Essence Reaver on this patch. But ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get into game number 3. The Bros with a fun composition. DPlus, a little bit more meta than last time. Let's get into it. All right, Bro fans, full voice here in Lol Park today, as we see whether they can start off round 3 with a bang. Being able to take down DK would be a big deal, but they're going to have to do it from the red side. Blue side has been 100% win rate so far this entire round. It is insane how good blue side is.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's in fact what I did for my predictions all week, is whoever had side selection, I was just like, they're going to win. Because blue side's OP. You're guaranteed to have it twice. So there you go.
Boom.
That's not actually what I did. I'm not entirely sure how many blue side wins I did, but I probably should just try and retcon it and get back to maybe just doing that.
I like to play from left to right.
Ah, yeah?
I feel way more comfortable on blue side. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, and it's like a direction you walk type thing?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
maybe
like,
it's because you played too many platforms.
Maybe if I played Mario Brothers and it was from right to left as a kid, I'd be like, oh, red side is my...
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you've obviously been playing like the newer Donkey Kong games that are like also platformers.
Yeah.
Like, It's like even new games. It's all right, left to right.
I mean, Super Mario World was revolutionary because you could go right to left and go back. But like, you normally didn't want to, but you know, you could.
Yeah. And okay, Beryl, a bit of a drive-by there. He's just sailing past, just showing that the anchor works on terrain. Nicely done. They're looking to clear out this ward. That will happen. Aiming cancels the auto to make sure that he gets the money. You love to see it. Knocked into the alcove here, but otherwise not too much going on. And it's just going to be minions traded between these two bottom lanes.
MF into a 80 carry plus Alistair, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's not going to be feeling the greatest.
That's what level 1 looks like.
In fact, the entire wave survived after that one. And Showmaker looking a little worse for wear here, as the Noxious Blasts, I believe, have been landing. I didn't do my job, Wolf. You mentioned that I should find out whether he's played very much Cassiopeia in the past. I don't quite remember very much Close of Cassiopeia, so I'm going to have to look it up.
I have no tablet or laptop with me today, so otherwise I would have done it, but you have yours. So
no, I don't. I'm looking it up in my brain.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, like, come on, Wolf. You need to make them think that they're smart instead of looking things up.
No, I mean, sometimes
the tablet is definitely in front of me.
Sometimes you just use the tablet to charge your brain. And then,
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's he's just drawing power from the tablet.
Because as soon as I read it on the tablet, it is in my brain.
Yeah.
Right? It has to go through there. So theoretically, I'm fine. He's played it one time and lost.
Okay, so I thought it was going to be like 3 or less, but 1 is quite low, obviously. The back here for aiming feels amazing. He's able to buy a call and just head straight back to lane, and we'll still have some control, as Lucid is going to do some trading here, some vertical jungling with Croco. The cool thing about the Cassiopeia into this draft, by the way, even though, like you said, it's not a winning matchup into the Rise, if aiming doesn't do big damage with his combo, which he doesn't have a rel to set up for him, right? Like if Shio doesn't hit his ultimate, you don't have that really strong angle, then you're missing a ton of damage because Lucian and Cassiopeia at low range are just going to be like, all right, well, it's my turn now. You didn't kill us. We kill you. And Rise, yes, he does a lot of damage. That's why, you know, a lot of his builds call him, or make him called the Machine Gun Rise. Yep. Does do a lot of damage later on. But Cassiopeia with Conqueror is such a crazy threat, especially if an Equalizer just slows people down or takes a few, you know, health bars down to half. It's so easy to clean up fights as Bro, and it's hard to get away from Cassiopeia. You know, you're just kind of locked in, and it's done so.
Well, Morgan going to make himself a little bit quiet here, but doesn't land that last harpoon. He's just going to look for a little bit of a reset.
You know who hates grounding on the side of D+? Especially Lee Sin.
Yeah, I think Beryl also not going to be too psyched about it either. Does want to be landing these dredge lines, but at least his depth charge is not going to worry about it too much. As, okay, Polu taking a bit of damage here. Finds a headbutt Pulv though. Level 4 has been picked up as Aiming going to swap his focus over towards this Lucian. They do get the heal out. Our barrier has been expended, but so is the heal now.
It was really well played, I think, by D+ to prevent the back, because Hype, remember, hasn't bought any items yet. He's just sitting on that Doran's Blade, and now Aiming is like, cool, I got this tempo call here. Actually going to be able to push this wave in. And they had Vision there, so they were able to interrupt the back perfectly on Vision. There's no risk inherently there for Aiming and Barrel, and they get the heal out of Palu and a ton of tempo. Huge win here for D+'s bottom duo.
Yeah, it's kind of massive, especially if Hype does decide to try and go for a back, because he wouldn't have been able to pick up that wave.
That's
so
Dragon.
Once again, yeah, the Dragon going to be picked up because they need to deal with this minion wave that is coming in. Shiu going to look to try and dash over this little house. There's a public execution going to come on through, but there's the double dash. Doesn't need to flash, but does expend the ulti, which will take down some of his control towards that top side. As Showmaker not wanting to show his face to this level 6 Cassiopeia too much, as you saw, was turning away quite a few times. And that is going to be that first dragon taken down here by Lucid.
Yeah, it's a big win on the bottom side of the map. Good defense there by Shiu with the ult, with the level 6 advantage. Their top side. If Morgan has his equalizer, maybe they're able to slow Shiu down. He's not quite able to get away or is forced to flash, but just presses R and takes that at a nice angle, gets away. Will be forced to TP back now. Morgan will get a free back, but in fact, it's actually going bottom lane, as we're going to see a swap set up here. But
yeah, really interesting actually, because Bro was still back home. And it looked like they were heading towards bottom side. They see the teleport coming in. They're like, all right, well, we'll go back top, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird moment there where Bro actually kind of have that additional information, and we'll be just fine to match this. And Morgan didn't have to TP or anything like that for that play top side, so you can just go down and match bottom. A few minions lost here for Bro, but at the end of the day, feeling pretty good about it.
Yep, no worries at all. Showmaker comes on over and does manage to take that cannon, so no worries there. be able to deal with this wave very comfortably. Level 7 now gained for the Rise, down 3 CS, so nothing really to worry about as far as the lane is going. And Hype will match, as we're looking for a little bit of a grub play. And this is actually kind of cool for DK, because we've seen Bro take the first Drake in every game, but it's often been very late. So now, first Drake goes down, but Grubs hadn't spawned yet, so they get to move their bottom lane towards the top side, and they can focus on trying to take that objective as well, if Lucid can keep this tempo up as far as the jungle is concerned.
Forcing Closer to back too, and when he didn't have TP, now he gets a free back on the wave push. Closer loses a little bit of farm, but Showmaker can just get straight back to the mid lane, perfectly timed for these Grubs. He also has his Realm Warp available. So topside control that goes over to this Misfortune and not Nocturne, Nautilus.
Yep.
Feels amazing, right? Like DPlus should be able to secure these Grubs, and I think for Bro, trying to figure out what the cross map is probably the game plan, or maybe just saying, all right, we're going to secure one, see what we can do here. As at this point, MF is so strong too with her ult at level 6. Like, this is a really strong skirmish here for DPlus, and Lucid's already even saying, like, we can do more than just get Grub control. I'm going to come over here and get some deep vision, look to harass the enemy jungler, get more information.
Oh, Showmaker going pretty aggressive, finds a Rune Prison on to Closer here, but doesn't want to overly commit. The Noxious Blast does go wide that time. Is aiming in barrel. A little bit behind enemy lines now. Headbutt Pulve does come on through.
What?
Barrel, I don't know about that hook. Croco's going to move over. Aiming's going to have to flash if he wants to get out, but there's the Sonic Wave coming over, and Lucid finds his way out with a safeguard. Barrel will be there. Never mind. He's just going to get into this grub pit, and then... Question. He'll die. As Croco comes on over and just eats the Big Daddy. Down he goes. In fact, Closer gets that kill. A big deal here for the mid lane matchup, and they can actually use this.
They just get Grubs. I mean, Showmaker, all he can do is try to, clear this wave and try to deny some farm, but Closer actually is just already over here, so he doesn't really get much out of it. Equalizer gets dropped to try to get Morgan a free back here. I don't think he's going to get interrupted. He does get away with it, but that almost was like, I guess I'll just trust Barrel forever no matter what. But instead, I am still very confused about what the game plan was, because also no one was here to catch him, even if that hook does hit on the Hype.
Well, no, the hook was meant for the Alistair, but unfortunately the Alistair went over the wall and, hit aiming.
No matter who he hits there,
yeah,
anyway, he dies.
I still think the play was not good.
He dies for it, and they don't have any tools to win the fight. So the kill goes over to Cassiopeia versus going over to him, the Nocturne. I don't know why I keep saying Nocturne. Nautilus.
Yep, Noctilus.
We're all a little bit jet-lagged. But at the end of the day, what looked like a disastrous play could have been worse, but it still was a disastrous play, Atlas.
Yeah, it didn't quite work. It is still DK with a slight gold advantage, but the Grubs going over is fantastic. Of course, denying them from the Ambessa also a really good thing, because the side laning here from DK could be very, very strong with this composition. Ryze and Ambessa feel pretty at home in these sides.
Yeah, more of a denial than like a big boon for Bro, but getting Grubs at any point also definitely feels good, because like anytime you hit a turret, it's value. Like, you are trading turrets, like you might just trade up because you have that Grub value. First brick, stuff like that, so they often go hand in hand.
It does mean that things are very, very even as far as the feats of strength are concerned. Going to need 2 objectives on both sides, 2 kills on both sides, and the turrets are still standing. So yet to see much ground being made there.
Yeah, not a plate across the map has gone down.
Yeah, that's true too. My goodness, it is very even. A few extra minions being picked up by the solo lanes of Bro, but that has been kind of answered here by aiming
Lucid
pretty far ahead.
Is late on the rotation here, but because they have to clear this wave, he might just have enough time. It's Barrel on Nautilus with level 6. Diving this is tough.
Well, there's another hook to come in. The Pulverize is going to connect. There's aiming. Does go down as now Croco with the Subjugate running. Lucid is going to come on over, but now Croco just kind of doesn't have anywhere to go, and he is just dead. There are 2 kills coming on through as Polo was tanking the turret for a little bit longer than he really wanted to, and does just kind of fall.
A bit of farm denied for aiming, but at the end of the day, that was a bit of a...
I mentioned like the question mark pings in the brain.
Yeah.
That happened again just then.
So Barrel going in initially here is why I think Bro feel like they're like, oh, okay, well, he's already...
Well, we're flashing for Morgan! The Lord just solo kills Shiu!
Okay, well, that's a big win. That's a big win. DPlus do get the Dragon on the other side. Will be 2 Drake lead for them for another Mountain Soul. But
Morgan like had a warm-up game, and now he is just the god.
He's back to Lord status.
Yeah, he is definitely Lord status.
Barrel goes in here, and then Paulo gets the interrupt on aiming's ult, so this looks amazing, right? But unfortunately, because Kroko goes left here, I guess worried about getting rooted by Barrel, he ends up being left for the Wolves. Paulo continues to try to hold the aggro to let him live, but then they both die.
I don't think that was it. I think he just picked up aggro by mistake.
Oh, okay, I thought he actually was trying to hold it there. Either way, Morgan in the first-person view.
Oh, just stone cold.
Yeah, not too thrilled about it, but I think Bro fans everywhere should be. But man, the 2 Drake lead into Mountain Soul again is just so insane.
Mountain Soul. My goodness, haven't seen that one before. That's we are this round 100% Mountain Souls. Well,
so far, yeah.
That's nuts. That is way not enough Cloud Souls.
Statistical anomaly.
It is. It is quite anomalous. See whether that continues as we move to our next series. Of course, a reminder, that one is going to be Genji versus Hanwha Esports, and that is one that you will not want to miss. Hanwha made sure that they came home early from EWC to get as much rest as possible. At least that's what the EWC performance looked like. And now Genji going to see whether they can continue that streak. It will be 27 series in a row if you include EWC and MSI on top of Road to MSI and the first couple of rounds here in the LCK.
Cole's about to cash in here for aiming. He has that Bloodthirster online. Now he's heading straight to the mid lane. Like, this is the moment for MF where you feel like you can do whatever you want and you can control mid prio and you can look for fights. It's a big spike for farm comfort, really, for the MF. Good for team fights as well, but it's not, you know, the damage spike. It's just a lot of extra safety. And you're always going to be able to eat a little bit of poke. You're always going to feel very comfortable to come up and trade. So this is that, plus Showmaker hitting level 11. This Realm Warp hasn't really been used aggressively just yet this game, but certainly can be. He's going to fight instead just 1v1 here and win the trade.
Closer hasn't yelled at Showmaker yet. I feel like that Petrifying Gaze is just always threatened, and Showmaker kind of trying to play around it as best he can. Does manage to clear out the wave though, and Closer is just chilling. Gold lead still slightly there for DK, but it's only to the tune of 400. The only thing really to pay attention to are these dragons that they've been able to pick up alongside it. 1 minute until the Rift Herald. That is going to be the next objective to be looked out for. But if DK managed to stack 3 Drakes at the start of this game, it's going to be really difficult for Bro. So expect a big fight around the Dragon Pit. I don't think the Rift Herald is as high priority, but can really spell pressure towards the Dragon, especially when they're staggered exactly like this.
I don't think the mid turret is that valuable for either team. I mean, obviously it's always a good thing, but it's not like these are dive comps that are going to just run away with the game if the mid turret goes down. But you can use it for Drake Prio. The timing for that works out incredibly well if you are able to get the Herald. So we'll see if these teams are going to group as Showmaker does not have TP. Closer, on the other hand, does. If they're able to identify this, maybe they could make a big play for it, trade a turret for that big objective.
She really respecting Morgan now.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding.
Makes a fair bit of sense. Playing back here as Morgan just taking full control. We haven't really seen him in any of our more than small skirmishes. Lucid standing on a ward here. They knew exactly what was going on, but the hook is still going to connect. There is the exhaust. Knockup is good from the Pulverize, but Polo is still likely to just be dead as the Realm Warp comes on in. The back scratcher down there for Hype as the culling doesn't really do too much. Petrifying Gaze only onto 1. There's now Kroko staying alive for so long. God, Trundle is so broken, man. And Equalizer, Showmaker takes that walk, but decides he needs to flash out of it, and you can understand why. As the Bros, they do manage to fight back. That is still DK taking down quite a few. Kroko's still up though. That is going to mean that the Rift Herald should go over to the Bro.
It's a big trade up for Bro, and it's Kroko secures that kill there. Triforce online, doing so much damage, and Showmaker's just unable to really get into the fight. Zoned away, and then equalized there. So look at where the carries are here for DPlus. You know, aiming is so late to actually join this fight. The Apollo is able to absorb so much pressure. And by the time this, Realm Warp comes through and Showmaker shows up, Hype ends up taking out half of his health, more than half of his health. And then this re-engage is desperation because the Petrifying Gaze only hits 1, but it's enough here. And now you have Closer, who's a real carry in this fight. Hype, who's a real carry in this fight. Showmaker's just not going to be able to compete with that low health bar. That culling was actually such a game changer.
It's kind of crazy. As now Polo doing battle against Showmaker here, but actually he is pretty tanky. So he is able to walk it off. Mountain Drake up and available. Everyone is alive here, unless... Oh,
a pillar!
God, that pillar is so good. Showmaker well and truly dead once again, and that should mean that the Dragon will go over to the Bros, and Lucid, he was ready to start that off. But unfortunately, just caught napping.
Can't put him in the doghouse on his birthday game day.
Oh, it's so unfair.
And he is dead. That turret is going to fall, and that's going to be Feats' strength, or at least the Feats turret here for Bro. They need one more kill, as you were alluding to, or one more objective, but it's the feat they get from it. First brick, and they're looking for more here.
Beryl, can you do enough damage to this? The answer is no, and maybe you're going to die for it. As aiming, we need you to come back. Beryl's going to get knocked up, and they're just going to give him up for the Ghost. Down goes the Nautilus. It's another quizzical...
in game one, I said maybe the shot calling is fixed. Maybe it's looking better. It's a good look. But in games 2 and 3, it has not quite lived up to that game 1 success. As this DPlus super broken up in a lot of these skirmishes, and Bro are just not hesitating. Yeah, well, there's a Q missing, and that's going to mean that this Dragon does go over to the Bros. They're on the board now, as that's just bullet time. Sometimes you just want to press your R button, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly how aiming was feeling, as he looks to soften them up. Lucid will be able to take his Raptors. I mean, it's not over yet, but it's looking real weird for DK. I mean, this is Croco finding all these angles, man. Look at this pillar, just on the edge, so perfectly placed. And the follow-up is there, because Showmaker's out by himself. Like, no one can peel for him, no one can do anything. All he has to do is pillar.
Yeah, it was a perfect pillar.
Those are impressed.
Yep.
Not gonna repeat that, but it wasn't very polite, but in a very cute way. The attempt here, though, from Beryl as well is quite weird, because look at where aiming is. Like, he can't do anything. Another fight here.
Anchor is just gonna go haywire there, as they are looking to disengage the fight. Lucid gets out with a safeguard. That is just going to be fight over. Subjugate was on cooldown. Polo does have to use his ultimate in that last exchange.
Morgan does have TP and Showmaker does not. So, you know, side lane pressure here is not really working out the way Showmaker wants it to in this game. He's only on 3 stacks of his Rod of Ages, and he's going for that super safe build, right, where he's got Roa into Seraphs. Not the most damage that we've ever seen, and when you're running an MF, it's a little bit concerning, to be honest, in a game state like this.
I mean, you're not going to build anything else on the rise, so unfortunately he's a little bit priced in, almost literally, as aiming here in the mid lane doesn't quite find the double up. But, you know, this is the most stable part so far, is the fact that aiming is still farming. Everything is okay, he's still 20 CS up, and might be able to get stuff done. But we haven't really seen too much from this Misfortune so far in this game. And the Bros, as far as the fights, they're just looking so much more coordinated.
Yeah, they're just decisive, right? They're making the calls fast. And, you know, players like Beryl keep getting caught out. Showmaker slightly caught out there. I want to give a lot of credit to Croco, but was in a position in the side lane where if he gets caught by anything, he is dead because there's no teammates nearby.
Yeah, he didn't have flash as well, so you just can't really be up there like that.
Yeah, these are moments that are incredibly punishable. And Bro have been, you know, pulling the trigger on those. This IE is done for hype as well, moving into this next objective fight. Otacon does spawn here.
It's even items. Aiming does manage to put his IE together as well, but he's a little bit further away. Otacon, I'm pretty sure, is 100% win rate so far in this round. As in game 1, DK were able to lock it down, and then Bro collected it in game 2. As Chu dashing around here, but Close are pretty happy in a side lane as a teleport in from Polo as another fantastic pillar comes down. That gets the bullet time out as Beryl has to flash. He doesn't find the turret. Polo gets underneath it as well, and he's got the unbreakable will. It's a double for hype, and that should mean even more here for the Bros as the Otacon could be on the menu.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about time for a Degon Pip at this point. It's Bros pulling massively ahead, 2.4K the lead now. And this is just a free Otacon after the play. Barrow caught a third time in this one. Lucid an extra casualty. And DPlus are saying, you can have Otacon. We're just going to try to take Closer out. But this turret is too healthy. There's no wave. And so the cross map is just not an option. And Bro, looking clean in their first series here of the Rise group.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's necessarily Bro that we need to be focusing on, because DK, we saw what they were capable of in Game 1. We have not seen that since. Game 2 was... It was a lot of things, and this game is also just uncoordination And those scrimbucks, we said that they were certainly things that you're not supposed to focus on, and that is looking exactly correct.
There's just no respect for this Trundle here, like you're saying. Barrel's caught, Showmaker was caught on the side, Lucid going back in here. And I'm not entirely sure who his target was to try to look for a flash kick potentially into the turret. It's just not a great angle there. And I mean, this Trundle now with Deadman's Plate is such a threat, has been all game long. And while I will agree with you that DPlus have had a rough 2 games in a row here, bro, you know, I think the bar towards the end of the season, or towards the end of the second round, we started to set the bro bar higher. You know, this is a team that will punish almost anyone, and that continues to be true. So DPlus have to tighten it up, or the bro bar is going to get hit. It's going to hit you right on the chin.
Oh, hit with a bro bar. It's kind of like getting hit with a crowbar, but probably hurts a little bit less.
Yeah, but it's not great at prying open like metal or doors, maybe, but it's good at prying open game 3s.
Well, Croco going to look for an angle here as another Calling just going to get soaked here by Beryl. He gets an ult out, he interrupts it, but he's dead. And so Polo ghosting around here. Showmaker, what are we doing? Why are we here? He is going to try and get out, but it is another pillar from Croco. Oh man, player of the match, I think I know where it's going according to me. Might be recency bias, but my god, this Trundle has been so good. As public execution is going to miss, but we'll see whether Morgan is still going to die. Make it rain, comes on down, and oh my god, the Lord is going to turn it as they take down Chiu. Aiming now in trouble, Lucid goes in desperately, trying to find the angle, but Morgan doesn't get hit by those. Aiming is flashing in, and they are tilted off the planet. DK are looking to get crushed in this game 3.
That's the kind of tilted skirmish fight that you don't expect to see from a team that has had so much time together, a team that's got veterans like Showmaker aiming and Barrel on it, and yet they get punished by Pillars again. Atlas, one more time here. Pillars on cooldown here, but Croco's just gonna run up, and they've got so much CC. Barrel trying to go in and ult Hype. Who's gonna follow up on that? Lucid's got flash and
you know who? Showmaker is.
Yeah.
He's following up on it, man, whether you like it or not.
And you know what? I hate to say it this early in the round, Atlas, but I did say at the beginning of the day, I think DPlus deserve trust. With all the reports about the scrims, this is such a great moment here from Morgan. Has the hourglass, or rather the arm guard, is able to buy so much space here, then tilts aiming into or flashing in and dies. Well, we said at the beginning of the day, I think DPlus deserves our preds. I think they deserve our trust. They've had a ton of extra time. They moved their coaching staff around, but after this series, man, I think I'm throwing that trust out the window. And bro, they just stay consistent. They stay good coordination-wise in terms of these team fights, the punish plays, and they're more proactive than DPlus, and DPlus is proactive at the wrong moments, Atlas.
Yeah, it's not quite working. At this point in time here for DK, Shio is at least going to be able to get a turret here towards the bottom side, but it's 7,000 gold. The lead has just ballooned out of control. Remember, Arakan was picked up earlier on as well. They've got 2 Mountain Drakes on their backs now. 4 minutes until that next one, and it's going to require a miracle here for DK if they want to make it back into this game. Croco on this Trundle looking absolutely fantastic. 3-0-4 for closer as well on the Cassiopeia. And I don't know what DK are going to be able to do to try and get back into this game.
He's going to hit 16 off his rod. Oh, there it is.
Hey, there we go. Nailed it. Okay, Lucid is going to taxi out using his own red buff, as this time Showmaker is not going to get completely destroyed by the pillar. As aiming with a Make It Rain, trying to split this fight up as Hype could be in trouble. He's kicked back. Down goes Lucid though, and Hype is just out of range of the bullet time. He stays alive, and the depth charge isn't even enough to kill him. It's Beryl's turn just to dive face forward. He does get his target. But I don't think the entire team was worth it.
Yeah, well, with that third kill, he picks up a Knight's Vow. Atlas, I guess that's what he's going to be looking at here in his collection as the Nexus falls. 4 dead on DPlus. Bro, 17 kills to 5. Relatively low death timer here on this Ambessa. They're not going to all in for the win, but this game is definitely over. As Hype is the target once again here. The equalizer, so good for zoning here. Hype gets the Triumph proc up for the kill here from Shiu, and then is able to survive the ult from Barrel. Barrel is finally able to take him out with the Ignite, barely taking him in, but the rest of DPlus are dead outside of aiming. just can't do anything. Bro, take the inhibitor, take the Baron. They're looking for, with this Baron, either the win as they break open the base further, or at worst case scenario, a third Mountain Drake in a row for this Trundle that's got a Spirit Visage. Nobody's hurting this guy.
Nope. It is, this is feeling like the last push here for the bros. And man, DK in game one, if you had left me at the end of game one and said, oh, what's going to happen in this series? I'm like, oh, 2-0, and then we'll move on to the next one. Was definitely not the case.
So
the
what
tenacity
you're saying
of the bros. What I'm saying is the bro tax did come in.
So what you're saying is the unprecedented DPlus dismantling in game one into tragic loss in game three and getting totally blasted in game three is still a thing, Atlas? Is that still a thing?
It is.
That's what Chronicler's already tweeting about, I'm sure.
Well, Hype is now going to get tagged by a Sonic Wave, but Polo is just getting lucid out of here. Showmaker trying to flash away, but Croco is just going to kill him. Now Polo finding the backline perfectly as the Equalizer goes down just to assassinate the Misfortune. Showmaker goes down as a bit of an afterthought here, and the bros will conquer DK here in the first match. Shiu, he's going to dash around a little bit. His public execution was swift and merciless. And the bros, yeah, they took a little bit of a timeout in the first game, but they absolutely came back with a vengeance in the next two and will lay claim to the first series of round three.
What a great start to round three here at LCK 2025. Anyone can beat anyone was kind of the moniker of our right side of the bracket, right? Our